Hi there again. So I think most of you already joined. So let's kickstart this. Thank you very much once again for being here. I see some people that already attended the first session and some new people. So I'm very excited for new people to join this weekly session. And before we start, just a brief house cleaning. The last session playback, the video playback, is now available on our YouTube. So feel free to search DocDigitizer at YouTube, and you will very easily find the video from the session. The video is there. It's the complete session, so not only the showcase and the demos, but also the Q&A. And another thing that is important is that we postpone the session that was initially booked for I think for this Tuesday, and this is now in March for next week, where we will discuss the QIC automation case study. So please just register for this next session. All of these sessions will have some parts that will be the same, but there will be always some twists and some new content, so you don't get bored if you attend to 3 or 4 of these sessions. Um, a very brief intro about the team that will be hosting this webinar or this session today. My name is João Fernandes. I'm the co-founder and CEO of DocDigitizer. And alongside with me, I have an amazing team, Claudia Mateus, that will be handling all your questions through the chat and through the question tab. So feel free to drop questions, and we will make sure that we will answer all of them either within this call or afterwards in our follow-up email. And today we will have also Elvin Monteiro, that is one of our project managers, that will showcase our UiPath connector. So the topic for today is RPA and how DocDigitizer is enabling hyper automation with several RPA tools. So just very briefly going through the agenda for today, I will make some notes about what is intelligence document processing and the connection of this with RPA. I will explain what we are doing and how DocDigitizer works, the differentiations when compared to other IDP solutions. We will have a UiPath demo and then the Q&A. So feel free to drop questions alongside the event, okay? I think nowadays everybody knows what is intelligence document processing. We can say that intelligence document processing, or IDP, is really a trend. And you see here a couple of quotes from Gartner that basically say that most of the companies are already doing automation. They are implementing RPA. Most of them are pretty successful. But the thing is, they already cover most of the most simplest processes. So nowadays it's becoming more and more difficult to find new processes where it's suitable to deploy RPA in the standard format. So rule-based format where you have a set of very structured inputs, very structured outputs, and a very structured and predictable set of actions. So these were the most suitable processes to start with, but now processes are becoming more and more complex. And as maturity of the RPA technology really improve, let's say, also all the expectations for automation also improve a lot. So that is where IDP takes place and takes stage. So most of the times, this kind of struggles that you find nowadays to find processes to automate is related to the fact that most of these processes rely on unstructured information, unstructured data. And robots by themselves and following this very rule-based approach cannot handle all this unstructured content. Okay, so to sum up this, 80% of the information that is currently exchanged between companies is unstructured. It's like this huge pile of Lego bricks that arrive to organization that contains critical information that the organization needs to undertake their processes, but is not exchanged in a format that is automatically prepared to be digestible by a software or by a robot, which means that at the end of the day, most of these processes still rely heavily on humans. Okay, this is also very counterintuitive because we tend to see that because of the world being more and more digitized, we tend to assume that information is much more structured, but in fact this problem is doubling in size every 2 years, which is like a very counterintuitive fact. So when I'm talking about unstructured content, it can range from an email, a document, I don't know, a comment on your social networks, an audio or video, okay? But for the purpose of simplification, let's focus on documents. And even within documents, we have a huge range of variability, ranging from the very structured documents such as an ID card, a passport, or an IRS form, to semi-structured documents such as an invoice that varies in layout, but essentially the format is mostly the same, and completely unstructured documents such as legal contracts, or even emails if you assume that an email is a document. Okay. When we look at unstructured content and when we look at this highly variable nature of this content, it's easy to assume that there are a lot of challenges in automating these processes. And the challenges are mainly related with two factors. How can I set up or train a model that is capable of handling all this diversity of content on one hand? And on the other hand, how can I be sure that these models will provide me quality information? Because if I don't have quality information, I'm not able to trust the automation, and therefore I'm not able to automate. Okay. I'm showing you this because this is what we call the breakdown of the total cost of ownership of an IDP solution. So when we deploy an IDP, typically these are the three main blocks when it comes to cost. Okay, you see here that on your left, 15% account for the IDP licensing. Okay, so this is related with the cost per page or credits or the license that you buy to deploy the technology. Okay, then 25% of the cost is related with setting up or model training. Okay, so by model training, I mean something that can be picking up a data set, training the system, providing the system with the truth, so the model can start learning. But also in some cases, it's also related with defining parsers or implementing templates. Okay. In fact, most of the costs is related with the data validation. Okay, and this is perhaps the most hidden cost of the total cost of ownership of these solutions. The reason why this number is so huge is because of two things. First, because most of the times you don't have data that you can use to cross-check if the model is providing you the best values or not, or the accurate values or not. So if you cannot cross-check, then you need to trust the model. But the thing is that in most cases, the model that you use for supporting data extraction is not really able to segment the things that are wrong from the things that are correct. Okay, And this leads to situations where you can calculate accuracy, but you are not sure if on this specific document you'll be able to detect which fields are correct, which fields are not correct. Okay. Once again, you might use confidence levels, but in some very critical processes, you probably will not rely on confidence levels because they have a lot of false positives and false negatives. Therefore, most of the times, what happens in practice is that you deploy an IDP solution and then you deploy people on data validation stations, correcting the things that are wrong and validating the things that are correct. So this is one of the major bottlenecks that we face today on most of the IDP solutions in the market. And I put here a landscape, a very brief and narrow landscape. There are a lot more providers in the marketplace, but just for the sake of classifying them into three main clusters, you have the legacy providers that come from the OCR world, from the scanning stations like ABI and Kofax, that have a lot of a huge portfolio of products related with data capture. And they are really amazing because they have a huge experience in deploying this kind of digitization pipelines. Okay. The second biggest group or cluster is related with UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blueprint, that are offering, as part of their offer, this tiny layer of IDP. IKeyBot, document understanding are just a few examples. So they are offering this as a part, as an extension of their robots, and this thin layer that they offer is targeting most of the times the most simplest use cases, since they are not experts on this area. You have also these providers here that are low-level OCR, such as Google Vision and Tesseract, that provide this in a very simple and low-level approach. And finally, on the top right, you see some of the startups that are trying to deploy different approaches to IDP. Okay, and if you go to Rawsome, Hypersize, or DocDigitizer website, you'll find that more or less the input and the output will be the same. You input documents and you get back data, but all the approach, all the packaging, all the business model, the way we look at the problem is completely different when compared to the other solutions. I would say better in some cases and not applicable in other cases, but still radical new ways of seeing the problem of structuring unstructured data. So what is this different form of looking at the problem? At DocDigitizer, our main goal is to make the pipeline or the translation between unstructured information into structured data as simple as possible. So the process is very complex. Dealing with highly diverse inbounds is very complex. Being sure that the information is correct is a huge challenge, but we think that our customer are not looking at dealing directly with those complexities. They just want to automate. So they just want something with the less setup as possible that enables them to receive always data that they can trust, that is 100% accurate, and at the same time with a very transparent and predictable price model. So at DocDigitizer, we are providing an IDP API that is capable of transforming any document, any layout, any domain into structured data with 100% accuracy and with zero setup. And your question may be, okay, so how can you do this? Because you are talking about the main challenges when we are implementing an IDP. We are often contacted by people that were struggling in implementing other solutions, and they just say to us, okay, what you are saying seems very nice, but is unrealistic. It cannot be true, because I faced those challenges before and I struggle with them, and did not find any suitable solution. So I would say that it's not a matter of doing magic, because we don't do magic. Neither it is a matter of not taking seriously the complexity of the problem. I would say that the main difference is that we want to make this simple for the customer, and assuming that we will deal internally with all these complexities. So we essentially are enabling our customers to remove any template or model training, because we offer the training on the fly. We have a human in the loop built in our solution that is able to handle all the exceptions and do the heavy lifting when the operation starts. So what we are doing here is, instead of having this huge time spent on deployment, we are just leveraging on our human in the loop to make this much more smoother, and deliver value right away. At the same time, this human in the loop is there to be sure that the data that we streamline back to the customer is in fact correct, okay? Which is something that removes the need to set up a human in the loop on the customer end. And finally, we are able to deploy this under minutes, okay? Because we are able to not spend time in training and open an API key right away. So this is basically the comparison between us and what you tend to see on an IDP solution. So we are trying to remove all these steps by absorbing them and by making them much more easy, because we will do them at scale, compared to the customer that would need to do this alongside with a lot of other things that they have in place. In a graphical manner, what this means in practice is that we are able to provide hyper-automation, trusted data, 100% accurate data over any layout, and have this straight line that doesn't depend if the document is new, if the document has a new template, if it is a new vendor, or if it is something that appears every day 1,000 times, okay? The customer don't want to be worried about this, and we want to offer them a solution that makes this possible for them. Just as a brief overview, we process a lot of different documents, so feel free to reach out to us with your specific use case. And on top of that, I strongly incentivize you to try it, okay? So to trust me and to trust that this is not magic, just send any invoice to extract@docdigitizer.com through email. And what you will receive back in a couple of minutes is this JSON file with all the details of the invoice, headers, and line items, okay? So try as much as you want, send us the difficult invoices, take photos, just with the bad light conditions, all those hard invoices that you cannot process in other solutions, send to us and receive the information that we are able to deliver. On the final note, and to go directly to the demo, also highlighting that DocDigitizer does not only provide our focus is not only to provide power capture, that is the data extraction API. We also perform a lot of different levels of services above the power capture, like fraud analysis, like standardization of information, which are very important aspects of the problem of the structuring a structured data problem that are often neglected by other solutions. So if you want to know more about this, please contact us at any time, and we will make sure you receive all the information about these several layers of services that we offer. Finally, I would ask Elvino, let me just close my screen, and Elvino, jump in, and the floor is yours, so you can showcase how to use DocDigitizer with UiPath.
João, thank you very much for your introduction. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, moving on, I prepared a little demonstration how to use UiPath, leveraging all the information and a lot of information that João just shared with us. We created a connector to help everyone easily integrate this with UiPath. Why? Integrating APIs is quite straightforward, but there's a lot of little things that we have to take in account that are quite easier if someone thinks them for us. So just let me share my screen, and there it is. And here I have the path already open. Let me start a little process with, I don't care about the name right now. And let me just put it loading all the dependencies and so on. I'm doing this because I think it's relevant to show you, for those that are not very familiar, how easy it is to add a dependency and to start working. It's quite different from importing directly one API. So here we are in the project part of the UiPath. Let's manage the dependencies, and add our DocDigitizer dependency. It is not here, but instead it's here, I think. There it is. I was scared for a moment. I'm installing it right now and save it. And this marvelous extension will give us with 3 activities that we can use. Just a moment for it to load. Okay, and it takes a little while to do so because it's loading every model and everything. And then we can start planning our flow. I will do 2 simple operations we have here in this part called DocDigitizer, where we have the connection for the V1 version, where we get the submit document. That is when we send to our APIs, please process this document. And after we do the submission of the document, we get an ID that we can later use to retrieve the document information. If something goes wrong, we can go and get the rejection. Either it's not our license or another problem arises, but we'll not tackle this in this session. So for submitting a document, it is as easy as putting here the activity, create a sequence for that. I'll go and grab some API key to do so. Our commercial team will happily provide one for you. Just paste it here. I'll put it inside in a variable just because I like that. And I'll say API key, and let me put the default value will be this. Okay, and then I'll say that the API key is this one. Okay, and the document path will be something that we have here. And let me just grab it from here, that is faster. Just so that you know, the document that I'm submitting is this one here. That will show you now. That is not very straightforward to see, but it is a lot of information here, some lines, some information that it's good to have. And it goes down, and I want it to go up. This, yeah, exactly. It's here. I have the API key. I have the document path, exactly. And now I will say, what is the object that I want as a response? I can create a new object. I'll create it here just to show you the magic of typing, and this is the response. Submit the response. Submit the response, and this will be a type of this DocDigitizer model that is some here somewhere, and it will be a task response. Okay. So this will give me the information of the document, and I'll put it here in the submit documents and get the task response as in submit response. Okay. And then let me just grab a log activity for us to see, hopefully, that this can succeed very fast doing submit response dot documents ID. This will give you the document ID that we'll need for the following information. Let us just run here. I'll just run it and query for it. This will be quite fast. It's running. And there it is. And here we can see the doc ID for the document that we just submitted. In this demo, due to taking some time to do so, to get the document, the information from the document, we get another activity. I'll put it right over here, and then I'll comment that one. That is the get document information that will grab this ID, or where I put here the API key again, and I will grab the document ID. I'll use a pre-processed document for this one, C, and I'll output this to a variable again, and I want this as string. So this will be, just create a new variable. Oh, it's not this one. I'll create it here. It's and I'll say output of document, output of image one. Okay. And I'll say that I want here the output of image one. We have two ways of outputting this information. Right here, we can have the information structured, or we can have it as a string response, meaning a JSON object. Sometimes, meaning for some reason, we may not have in this particular implementation the model completely updated with new information. So we will always provide the string representation where you can map yourselves and use it as a JSON output. So I have this, I have the string, and now, as it must be, I will log the information so that we can see the complete structure of this call. So right now, everything is ready. I'll just comment this disable activity and disable this activity. Okay, so now just calling this one, and it's it. Yeah. Let's run it again, seeing the magic happening. It's running, and now we have here now to see all the, where is it? Oh, there it is. It's just quite big. So in here we can see that, let's put this here. We have here the structured data of the document that we may see right here. Let's check if we can put it all together. and we'll have here all the information that this invoice have, meaning a lot of line items where we can get, we have the tax number that is right over here. I don't know if you see my mouth. Yeah, we see. We have the VAT number. We have all the line items like int ATT, that is here with a value of 0. ATT PEP for this, 1049, and all the other lines that you can see over here. So even the supplier name that is somewhere in here, and all the information that is relevant for these financial documents.
Awesome,
So
Elvino.
this is it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this demo. I would say that Elvin, stay with us because Claudia will probably have questions related with the UiPath. So Claudia, you want to jump in with some questions?
Hi, guys, everyone. Thank you so much for all your questions. We have some great questions. I'm going to start. The first one is from Bruno. Do you have already other pre-built connectors for other RPA tools?
The answer is yes, although they are on the beta version. So UiPath is on a stable version, so I think it's suitable to say that you can start using it right away. The other, for Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, are still on beta. So contact us if you need more information about this.
Cool. Thank you so much, João. Second question is from Michael. What is the cost associated with this pre-built connector?
It's free. So we provide this as a part of our subscriptions. And if you have a DocDigitizer subscription, you'll have access to all the connectors that we have.
Okay, great. Another question from Alexandre. This service is a transaction? If yes, what is the SLA for response?
Okay, so I will answer with the following format. This is an asynchronous service, which means that, as Elvino showed, you have a moment where you submit the document and another moment where you can query the results. And this is essentially due to the fact that we ensure the quality. Okay, so there's no 100% accuracy in real time. The lead time between these two events, these two moments, is set by the customer. And we have customers that choose 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and we can have customers that say, okay, I'm comfortable with 8 hours. So it really depends on the time sensitive of the process, and is up to the customer to choose the best processing lead time that fits their requirements.
Perfect. One more from Elias. Is your RPA REST based? Why should the client use the connector instead of a standard REST client?
Elvino, do you want to jump in on this one?
No, João, I'll let you answer. No, just kidding. It's quite easy because most of the times, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, implementing the REST APIs have a lot of things to have in consideration, meaning authorizations, retries, and things like that. So that's why we decided to make the connector to facilitate all these points.
But at the end of the day, if you prefer to use the API, it's also possible.
Yeah, that's for sure. The idea is to get you as much time as you can to really get the data and not all these technical details. Thank you, João.
Thank you, Elvin and João. Last question for today. It's from Stefano. How can I test your pre-built connector?
Very simple. So I would say I would suggest the first test would be over the mailbox that I shared, because that is the most straightforward way to test DocDigitizer. If you are happy with the results, just drop us a line via our website and we set up a call and we create a trial license for you and provide you an API key and a pre-built connector. Claudia, are you there?
Oh, sorry, guys. Last question for today, guys. From David. How much is the price? Is depending about the response time? If so, what about this?
It is. It is based on the response time, and it starts at 1 cent per document. So our charging model is based on documents, independent on pages, and you can drop us a line, and we will share with you all the price details with the different SLAs that we have available. But they start at 1 cent per document.
And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. It was great questions.
Okay, so I would just invite you to register to the next session next week, where we will discuss the challenges behind QIC automation. And of course, all of these sessions will be available on our YouTube. So you can expect to have the playback available, I would say, tomorrow. And we will receive an email with a follow-up. I would like to thank you all again for being here. I hope this session was according to your expectations. Feel free to drop us any feedback so we can improve or better tailor these sessions to your needs. And I hope to see you on the next session. Have a lovely week. Thank you very much, guys.